Welcome to Told History, a channel where forgotten moments of the past come alive with cinematic storytelling and immersive detail. Here, every story reveals the human spirit behind world-changing events. If you enjoy history that breathes and inspires, consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps us continue shining light on stories that deserve to be remembered. In this episode, we journey to the heart of 19th century Japan, exploring the life and legacy of Saigo Takamorei, the legendary last samurai. Through calm and vivid narration, you'll witness a nation at the crossroads of transformation, where honour, duty and rebellion collide. Join us as we uncover how one man's choices echoed through time and changed a country forever. Chapter 1. Shadows over Edo. The year is 1867, and Japan trembles beneath the weight of both ancient tradition and looming change. In the city of Edo, narrow streets wind through wooden buildings as cherry blossoms drift in the wind. The old order is fragile, samurai gather in quiet corners, their eyes reflecting uncertainty. The air is thick with whispers as the world they've known teeters on the edge of transformation. Edo's once unchallenged samurai walk with purpose but carry heavy doubts. Their swords, more symbols than weapons now, hang at their sides, reminders of centuries-old codes of honour. The dawn of the Meiji era flickers on the horizon, threatening to unmake customs that shape generations. Each footstep echoes with nostalgia, loyalty, and the unspoken fear that history's tide cannot be turned back. In the heart of this uncertainty stands Saigo Takamorei, a figure both respected and mysterious. He is a man of fierce determination, known for his unwavering honour and quiet strength. Saigo's loyalty to his samurai brothers binds him tightly to the old ways, but he also senses the inevitable pull of change. Within him, the hopes of many are balanced, and the fate of the samurai rests on his decisions. By the glow of paper lanterns, stories of unrest drift from tea-house to barracks. Some speak of defiance, others of acceptance. The coming reforms promise progress, yet threaten identities rooted in centuries of tradition. It is a world suspended in twilight, caught between memory and an unknown future, a fragile piece held together by pride, fear, and a longing for belonging. Samurai voices murmur through the alleyways as news of political upheaval spreads. The emperor's return to power signals, an era where swords may soon be replaced by laws and uniforms. The elders recall days when samurai ruled uncontested, their every action guided by Bushido. Now, the young warriors wrestle with ambition and doubt, wondering what their place will become in this new Japan. Night falls gently over Edo, casting lengthening shadows across the city's tiled rooftops and shrines. The world beyond is changing rapidly. Steam trains and foreign fashions creep into view, symbols of a nation in flux. Yet beneath these changes, the samurai's struggle is achingly human. How do you hold on to honour when the world no longer recognises its value? The answer lingers in the silence. In quiet family gardens, elders share stories with wide-eyed children. Tales of valour and sacrifice, laughter and sorrow shape the legacy of the samurai. As reforms gather speed, these stories grow more precious, lifelines to a vanishing way of life. Saigo Takamorei listens, absorbing both hope and heartache, knowing that soon he must become more than just a guardian of memories. Rivers reflect the lantern-lit city, carrying with them the dreams and fears of countless souls. Saigo paces the banks, deep in thought. The scent of pine and sakura fills the air, mingling with distant echoes of drums and chanting monks. All around him, the city holds its breath, caught between revolution and resignation. The decision to resist or to change weighs heavily on every heart. As dawn approaches, the tension in Edo grows thicker. Soldiers patrol the streets with uncertain purpose, wary of sudden rebellion or shattering peace. Saigo's presence offers both comfort and unease. His loyalty is unquestioned, yet his silence breeds anxiety among the people. The first light on tiled roofs paints a city trembling with anticipation, every shadow hinting at stories yet to unfold. In these uncertain days, Saigo Takamorei emerges as a reluctant symbol of resistance and hope. While change sweeps through the nation, his presence reminds all of what was and what might yet be saved. With each sunrise, Edo's future grows more uncertain, and it is here, in the balance between loyalty and transformation, that our story of the last samurai truly begins. Chapter 2. The Last Loyalist. In the changing heart of 19th century Japan, Saigo Takamorei stands as a pillar of tradition. Born in the rugged land of Satsuma, his childhood was shaped by honour, loyalty, and a deep connection to his samurai roots. These early years would forge a spirit unyielding to the shifting winds of progress, quietly planting the seeds of a legend that would define a generation. As Saigo grew, the world around him grew restless. Japan's old ways were under siege, as new ideas and influences swept in from distant shores. Yet in these uncertain times, Saigo's resolve never faltered. He learned to balance the traditions of his ancestors with a watchful eye on emerging threats, quietly becoming the guardian his people needed as the world began to transform. Rising steadily through the ranks, Saigo's character earned him deep respect among both friends and rivals. His humility, unwavering loyalty, and martial prowess became legendary throughout Satsuma. But beneath his calm surface, Saigo felt the weight of Japan's growing pains. Each victory and each lesson added layers to the man who would come to symbolize the soul of the samurai in an era of disruption. Through triumphs and setbacks, Saigo's devotion to the samurai code became the foundation of his leadership. He championed justice and selflessness, drawing followers inspired by his steadfast heart. With every act of loyalty, every personal sacrifice, Saigo wove himself tighter into the fabric of his changing homeland, guiding those who feared the future and clinging tightly to the honour of the past. The political landscape around Saigo shifted as Japan sped toward modernization. Courtiers and bureaucrats debated Western ideas, yet Saigo kept a careful distance from the intrigues of the capital. He wore his convictions openly, standing as a reassurance to those who felt unmoored by unstoppable reforms. His presence alone spoke volumes, a living thread connecting the old world to the uncertain dawn. Amidst rising pressures, Saigo faced personal dilemmas that tested his dedication. Should he yield to the new government's demands, or follow the unbending path of his ancestors? These questions echoed through his private moments, stealing sleep and filling him with quiet resolve. In these times, Saigo's loyalty to the samurai spirit burned brightest, a beacon guiding him through shifting alliances and mounting tensions. The samurai of Satsuma rallied to Saigo's cause, finding in him not only a commander, but a kindred soul who understood their fears. He listened to their concerns and led by example, never demanding more than he was willing to offer himself. Through acts of kindness and courage, Saigo became the beating heart of a community searching for meaning in the rush of change, a quiet reassurance in turbulent times. Saigo's legend grew, but so did his isolation. While his countrymen debated new laws and foreign customs, he withdrew to the rugged hills and calm temples of his youth, seeking wisdom in solitude. These reflective journeys deepened his resolve and connected him further to the ideals he cherished, shaping him into a leader both approachable and formidable. With every passing season, his loyalty became harder to ignore. As the government further embraced modernization, friction between old and new became inevitable. Saigo stood at the crossroads, embodying both resistance and hope. He spoke softly but was listened to intently, his opinions carrying the weight of tradition and sorrow. Even as others bent to the future's demands, Saigo's presence remained a silent challenge to the forces that threatened to erase the samurai way. Ties of loyalty bound Saigo not just to individuals, but to an entire heritage. Every decision he made reflected a desire to preserve the essence of the samurai, acting as both shield and mirror to those around him. His unwavering devotion lit fires in the hearts of his followers, turning private fears into collective strength. With each step, Saigo transformed from loyal servant to living symbol of a fast-fading code. In hushed meetings and candlelit shrines, old allies and new supporters pledged themselves to Saigo's vision. He bore the responsibility with humility, torn by love for his homeland and respect for its leaders. Through each quiet conversation and shared dream, Saigo sowed the seeds of rebellion, confident that the soul of the samurai was worth any sacrifice. His path now pointed inexorably toward history's turning point. Saigo Takamori's story, rooted in loyalty and courage, became a flickering light as Japan hurtled toward modernity. With every act of steadfastness, he inspired those who longed for dignity amidst uncertainty. Though the full scope of his destiny remained unwritten, Saigo's example showed that even in changing times, the heart of the samurai could never be completely extinguished. His legacy was only beginning to unfold. Chapter 3. Rebellion in the Mist. Dawn breaks over Kagoshima, heavy with mist that seems to blur the line between yesterday's glory and today's turmoil. Saigo Takamorei stands at the centre of a swelling tide, his Satsuma samurai arrayed in silent defiance. Where the fields grow muddy and the air thick with uncertainty, rumours swirl that rebellion is no longer a whispered threat, but an open cry for justice. Steel gleams as ancestral armour is donned at each plate and silk knot, a memory of battles long past. Yet now, those tokens of honour face the firepower of a modern empire, rifles and cannons, cold and unyielding. Saigo's warriors, fueled by loyalty and an unbreakable code, grip their swords tightly as thunderous shots echo across the shrouded land. Within each heart, the weight of tradition collides painfully with the advance of change. The clash is not only of weapons, but of worlds. On these mist-covered fields, the samurai's devotion to Bushido faces the calculated might of imperial troops. Old friends know on opposite side street to read familiar eyes hidden behind armour and smoke. Each volley, each clash of blade on steel, tests more than just skill in battle. Here, the very soul of the samurai age hangs in the fog, waiting for fate's judgment. Saigo, resolute and calm amid chaos, rides along the front lines. He calls not just for valour, but for steadfastness in the face of overwhelming odds. As wind whips the banners of Satsuma, his voice cuts through doubt, rallying his samurai to hold fast. For these warriors, defeat would mean not only the loss of a battle, but the fading of a way of life cherished for centuries. Hope flickers in every determined stare. Early skirmishes, erupt swords crashing against rifle butts, arrows whistling through gunsmoke. Mud splashes as men lunge and fall, cries swallowed by swirling mist. The imperial soldiers hold their ranks, disciplined and distant. Across the field, Satsuma's men fight with a wild courage, their every move an act of remembrance, for lost ancestors, for honour, for the cause Saigo believes must never be forgotten. In quiet moments between attacks, old samurai remember evenings centuries before, when wisdom and poetry mingled with sword drills. Those memories now sharpen their resolve. Some slip tokens of family or faded crests into their sleeves, silent prayers tucked beneath the clamour. The battle for Kagoshima has become a crucible not only for Japan, but for the spirits bound to its ancient warrior code shaken, but not yet broken. As the confrontation deepens, stories spread through both camps of Saigo's honor, his loyalty, and the impossible weight he carries as leader. Whispers float on the mist, carried by anxious messengers and weary foot soldiers. For many, the presence of Saigo himself is inspiration enough to hold the line, even when cannons flatten the earth and riflemen cut through the dark. On both sides, doubt is an enemy stalking silently between shadows. Despite mounting losses, Saigo's men press onward. Each charge through the haze becomes an act of defiance, unyielding, reckless, and heartbreakingly human. Fallen comrades are carried from the field with reverence, their names spoken like ancient poems. The muddy ground itself seems to remember each step and each drop of blood, as if the land absorbs these moments, promising they will not simply vanish into history's shadows. Night descends, the mist thickening as flames from camps and smouldering barracks pierce the gloom. Both armies gather in uneasy quiet, tending their wounded and whispering stories of home. For some, the war is already lost. For others, dawn holds fragile hope. Across the battered fields, the challenge of Saigo and his samurai hangs the echo of a world fiercely unwilling to yield without a final, unforgettable struggle. Through sleepless hours, Saigo stares into the embers, weighed by responsibility and haunted by memories of brighter days. He recalls childhood lessons beneath cherry blossoms and the burden of leading friends into peril. His resolve is tested by every decision, every loss. Yet, in darkness, he finds fleeting strength in the loyalty surrounding him and the ancient promises echoing in every oath-bound heart. The next morning, the battle resumes in earnest. Shots ring out, swords flash in desperate arcs, and the samurai advance once more. For Saigo's men, each breath and swing is a stand against oblivion. The defenders of tradition clash headlong with progressory blow, a question posed to fate itself. In this crucible, the true meaning of honour, sacrifice and belonging burns brighter than any sunrise slipping through the mist. As the fighting rages on, the legacy of Saigo Takamorei and his Satsuma warriors grows with every sacrifice. The world watching now understands. This is not just a battle over who will rule Japan, but over what Japan will become. In the mist, where old lives and new dreams collide, the final act of samurai defiance is written, not only in victors' banners, but deep in the memory of a nation forever changed. Chapter 4. The Falling Sword. Darkness gathers over Saigo's cause as the final days of the rebellion draw near. The once mighty ranks are now weary and thinned, shadows lingering over their camp. Each footstep echoes with loss, and a heavy silence settles as the realization of coming defeat tightens its hold. In these moments, even the bravest warriors begin to sense that the end of their way of life is close. Saigo stands quietly, watching embers drift in the dusk. His shoulders bear the sorrow of decisions made and burdens carried. Around him, loyal followers cling to their honour, remembering victories and sacrifices past. Yet now, uncertainty gnaws at every heart. Hushed voices speak of home and family as the samurai reckon with their duty and the inevitability of what awaits at dawn. In the hush of night, farewells echo through the thin mountain air. Friends clasp hands, warriors bow respectfully, and glances longer-reach gesture heavy with meaning. Some write final letters, words of love and apology meant for distant kin. Emotions swirl as men in armour reveal hidden fears and memories. In these quiet, vulnerable moments, the legendary strength of the samurai is tested beneath grief's quiet pressure. Saigo himself seeks solitude, walking amongst the pines as moonlight filters through their branches. He reflects on the choices that brought him here, the hope that led to battle, the pride that refused surrender, the loyalty which now carries a terrible cost. Though burdened, his resolve is forged from the same spirit that defined his era, a steadfast commitment to honour above all else. The followers gather one last time, forming in ragged lines. Saigo, eyes calm yet sorrowful, addresses them. His words are gentle, filled with gratitude and mourning for what is lost. He speaks not of victory, but of the unbreakable bond that ties them, warriors united by purpose in the twilight of their tradition. Tears mingle with determination, facing the dawn together for the last fateful charge. The world outside stirs in anticipation. Imperial soldiers tighten their ranks, the chill of respect and apprehension mixing in their gazes. They too sense the weight of this ending, of history pivoting with each drawn blade. In the quiet before battle, the lines between enemy and brother blur, for all recognise the finality of what is about to be lost, and the sombre dignity of those who fight for it. The morning air is sharp with the scent of dew and steel. As dawn breaks, Saigo and his companions don the last pieces of their armour, fastening their hopes along with each cord and plate. For each, these rituals are as sacred as prayer, moments to steady trembling hands, to remember ancestors, to whisper silent oaths. Final embraces and farewells pass among the ranks. The march begins her. Slow, resolute advance into memory and legend. Every step stirs dust from ancient roads, mingling the past and present. The fields are hushed, the only sound the press of feet and the quiet resolve in every heart. The spirit of the samurai flares brightly here, even as the shadows lengthen, for honour demands its due, regardless of the dawn that awaits. In the fierce clash of the final stand, the battle roars in the morning light. Swords meet with the force of history, echoing through the hills. Yet even amidst chaos, Saigo and his followers fight not for victory, but for memory and meaning. Each strike carves a story on the land, a testament of love for their fading world. The very earth seems to mourn beneath them. Wounded and weary, Saigo finds a moment's peace beneath a blossoming tree. Memories of home and friendships lost swirl in his mind. He gazes upward, watching petals drift in the breeze like forgotten prayers. In that stillness, sorrow and honour intertwine. With each passing heartbeat, he accepts his fate, embodying the soul of a warrior who refused to surrender even when hope seemed most distant. The guns fall silent. The end arrives quietly, settling upon the fields like mist. Saigo's final silence speaks volumes of dreams deferred, of loyalty undimmed, of the spirit that no defeat can erase. His followers, few and scattered, carry these memories forward. The age of the samurai breathes its last, not with thunder, but with the quiet dignity of those who held to their beliefs until the very end. So closes an era. The world moves on, yet the legacy of Saigo Takamorei and his loyal companions lingers in the soul of Japan. Their courage and sorrow are immortalized in whispered tales and silent memorials. As we look back, we do not simply witness an ending, but feel the reverberation of a legendary spirit that shaped a nation's heart and echoes quietly into the future. Chapter 5. Echoes of the Warrior. In the quiet after the final clash, Japan stands transformed, yet haunted by the memory of the samurai. Saigo Takamorei is gone, but his legacy lingers, whispering across the windswept fields. Honour, once armour and creed, becomes a distant bell, its tone fading but never truly lost. In the calm of this new era, listeners are invited to reflect on what endures beyond defeat. Where samurai banners once billowed, trains now thunder across newly forged tracks. Factories and cities rise from the land where warriors once walked in silence. Yet within this rush of steel and progress, the heart of the samurai continues to resonate, not only in rituals and tales, but in the courage carried quietly by generations. Saigo's name echoes in the chambers of memory, his rebellion, a marker between yesterday and all the tomorrows to come. In stories whispered at dusk, Saigo Takamorei becomes both legend and warning. Children gather, listening to elders recall the samurai's valor and sorrow. His choice to defy the empire holds a lesson, a testament to the price of conviction. Through ink and language, his honor is woven into literature, immortalized in poems, paintings, and the gentle hush of remembrance. Even as modernity flourishes, the stories keep his spirit alive. The emperor's vision for a new Japan required sacrifices. Ancient ways of life swept away so progress could take hold. Yet in the transformation, a question lingers: what was gained and what was lost? Listeners feel the longing for a vanished world, but also the hope that comes with change. The samurai's rigid path yielded to innovation, yet their quiet resolve and Saigo's indomitable will continue to shape the character of a nation navigating the tides of time. Echoes of the warrior do not fade easily. Streets in modern cities bear names once carried by samurai. Monuments and shrines honor their sacrifices. Even as swords are sealed away and armor gathers dust, the warrior's code bushido finds new meaning. In acts of compassion, loyalty, and perseverance, the essence of Saigo Takamori's spirit lives on. For every generation that follows, the question remains: how do we carry forward what is most precious from the past? Some see Saigo Takamori's story as a tragedy, others as a necessary farewell to the old order. To many, he is the last guardian of a forgotten promise. His legacy is interwoven with the rise of Japan's modern identity, proof that great change does not erase memory, but reshapes it. Listeners can almost hear the phantom beat of war drums and the gentle footsteps of warriors returning in dreams, proof that echoes never truly vanish, but transform. In literature, the samurai appear as both heroes and ghosts, their lives retold in novels, theatre and screen. Every retelling is an invocation, breathing new life into values forged long ago. Writers and artists borrow their strength, exploring the boundary between loyalty and change, duty and freedom. Through tranquil narration, we remember that the samurai's essence still moves unseen, inspiring not only reverence, but also reflection as time flows unseen, flows onward. Though swords are no longer drawn, the battle to balance tradition with progress endures. The spirit of the samurai becomes a quiet compass, guiding difficult choices and inspiring resilience. In classrooms and quiet homes, lessons drawn from their honor become lessons for the present. Saigo's journey continues to encourage those who wonder whether courage and kindness can survive the rush of modern life. Listeners are gently reminded that strength often comes from the stories we choose to remember. Each year, commemorations remind the people of Japan about Saigo Takamorei and his followers. Statues cast in bronze and poetry recited on somber evenings recall the sacrifices made. The echoes are strongest in moments of uncertainty, when a nation looks to its shared past for meaning. Calm narration reassures us that loss and change go hand in hand, and that the legacy of the samurai is never truly buried, but continues shaping hearts and minds. The tale of Japan's last samurai is not only one of endings, but new beginnings. In the quiet shadow of Saigo's rebellion, modern Japan was born, its culture blending old dignity with new dreams. The soft cadence of this story encourages listeners to look beyond the battles and see the resilience at the heart of a people in transition. Each echo carries away sorrow, leaving behind the enduring wisdom of honor and hope. As time passes, the story of the samurai and Saigo Takamorei is passed from generation to generation each, telling imbued with wonder and solemnity. In parks and museums, in schools and homes, their memory is carefully tended. Calm narration invites listeners to consider how each era writes its own story on the bones of the past. The samurai's true legacy is how their courage guides those who walk in the light of a changed world. With the chapter closing, the spirit of Saigo Takamorei drifts across both old Japan and the vibrant present. The legacy of the samurai endures not as a sword sharpened for war, but as a quiet voice calling for honor, mindfulness, and compassion. Listeners are gently invited to carry forward these echoes, to cherish the stories that shaped a nation. Even as the world moves on, the heart of the warrior continues to beat within the soul of Japan.